Saw dudes, for a while I've wanted to bring my favorite Warframe to level cap and stress test what he can do. I finally got around to doing it the other day, but it wasn't quite perfect. The disruption run was going well but got interrupted due to real life obligations. The second attempt was in Void Cascade, as you all are seeing right now, but I didn't optimize a loadout because I forgot. Despite that, I wanted to share this with you all. Even when I didn't optimize everything, stuff went pretty well, meaning you can get better results than me. Also, apologies for my voice, I'm a little under the weather at the moment. With that out of the way, let's get started. The Gauss Prime build is fairly standard, with high duration and balanced range. I chose to use Brief Respite in the Aura slot for easy shield gating and enemy sense in the Exila slot to keep track of where enemies are on the map. Rolling Guard is essential since shields can get one shot at high levels. Vigorous swap isn't required at all, but I just used it because it's a nice bonus. You can swap it out for catalyzing shields if you want. Prime Flow keeps our energy reserves high for ease of use, since kinetic plating is a bona fide energy printer. This is a non-helmet setup because that is the way I prefer to play this frame. The arcanes are completely up to preference. I'm a fiend for duration, so Multi-Efficiency is my go-to. You can use a utility or damage arcane in the other slot if you like. The Archon Shards are all crimson, spec'd for duration. This is super overkill, so please don't feel the need to copy this to a T. In the primary slot, I used a Bubonico since it's a DPS powerhouse and primer all in one. This build takes down Demolisher units and priority targets easily, and we don't need to mod Viral since the alt fire already has it innately. Use the prime version of the Bane mod for better DPS. Deadhead is used to increase the headshot damage multiplier and get bigger slash procs. In the secondary slot, I use the Laetum because it lets me cosplay as an AC-130. I use Marksman's Hand, Lethal Rearmament, Caput Mortem, and Overwhelming Attrition as my evolutions. Before you come crying in the comments, I know about the Zada's Whisper synergy with Devouring Attrition. However, this is a non-helmet setup, and also Devouring Attrition doesn't even work against Acolytes, which is a death sentence. I like Crit Laetum more, so this is the build. This is pretty standard for a raw damage build since we will be stripping armor. If you don't have the prime mods, just use the regular versions. I'm using Deadhead again for another bonus to headshot damage on top of Caput Mortem. In the melee slot, I use Praedos. Super good damage and utility, so I find it hard to switch off. The evolutions I use are Drifting Grace, Shockwave Synergy, Evolved Ascension, and Universal Readiness. The build itself is the same as the one I showed in the previous video. It's a comfort build for the most part, just be sure to use a prime version of the Bane mod for better results. This is a little bit expensive because I'm using Melee Duplicate, but you can easily go without it. Next up we have the Panzer Volpophyla build. This cat is used to spread viral to enemies without having to take action ourselves. It also grants us a ton of safety via Martyr Symbiosis. As a final bonus, this build also grants us a 1.2 times final critical multiplier on all of our weapons, which is something that each piece of gear takes advantage of. The focus school I chose to use is Unairu for easy on-demand armor strip and shield removal. Poise is basically prime sure-footed but free. Last Gasp allows for self-res when you get downed, which is priceless in endurance. This saves revives a ton and is especially important in solo play. Reinforced Return is another source of iframes, but it's something that you may not use all too often. Everything in this focus school is perfect for endurance since it invalidates enemy survival tools. Finally, the amp I used is a 777 amp, or made with a Clamora Prism, Propa Scaffold, and Certus Brace. This amp is mainly used for its sky-high crit stats. The amp arcanes are Virtuous Strike and Shadow, which enhance the crit damage even more. The operator arcanes are Magus Anomaly and Magus Lockdown. I highly suggest swapping Anomaly for Magus Melt if you want more operator damage in down states. And that is all the gear I used. Keep in mind that my setup is not optimized like other runners. This means that you can do even better than me. Just use my video as a framework. The rest of the video is just footage from my runs. I do plan to make this type of video for more frames in the future, and with that out of the way, I'm gonna go chug some NyQuil to get better. As always, thank you all for watching, and happy farming.